All right. Good morning. Welcome to Get Your News On with Ron. 'Tis the season. And it is day 3 of my Whole30 diet. So last night was a bit rough for me. I just felt, this is sort of like last time. The last time I did the Whole30 diet. The first couple days, I felt like I didn't have any energy and I was really struggling. This time is no different. I've not been able to get to the gym for the past 2 days. I really wanted... The first day, I was like, it's your first day on the Whole30. It's okay if you don't go to the gym today. Yesterday, I really wanted to go. And I just, my body just was not, my body was like, nope, we're done. I did some sit-ups, and I felt like I had just run a marathon after 50 sit-ups. So I'm going through that adjustment period, you guys. I feel pretty good mentally, but I mean, just physically, I'm just weak. Not weak, but just drained, you know? What's up, G. Gibson? Good to see you. Matthew, good morning. DLJ, good morning. Jojo, good morning. Myra, Karen, A. Mars, good morning. Hi, Clay Gaming. Hello, Kim. Hello, Emmy. What's up, DC? Howdy, howdy. What's up, Zero Divisor? What's up, Pam Ryan? We are almost at 30. And for anybody that wasn't sure, oh, why am I feeling weak? I'm talking about the Whole30 diet. I'm on the Whole30 diet right now. That's a diet where for 30 days you only eat whole foods. Not from the place Whole Foods, but like whole foods. Like fruits, vegetables, fish, proteins, stuff like that. I can't have anything processed. I can't have any grains. I can't have any sugar. I can't have any alcohol. And some of you guys know I like my pastas. And I'm not having any pasta. So anyway, yes, the first couple days I'm feeling a little woozy, but mentally I'm all there. But like physically, I'm just tired a lot, and I have a show tonight. So I've not done stand up for the past couple days because of this diet, and yeah, Matthew, I'll answer this question. Then we got to start. What made me do this diet? You know, so the first time I did it, for the first 5 days, I felt like a pile of shit. And then by day 6, I felt like I could climb a mountain. So what it does is it kind of adjusts your body to a better eating habit. And yes, I am still allowed to smoke weed, Zero Divisor. And after I did it, the last one I did was almost a year ago. After I did it, I noticed that I felt full from pasta quicker. Like, I still love pasta. I always will until the day I die. But I didn't eat as much in one sitting after doing that diet. Like, because I'm not a big guy. I am 5'4", and back before I did the first Whole30, on a good day, a sitting of pasta for me could mean up to about 3/4 of a pound. And there have been times where I knew I could take out the full pound if I really wanted to. I love pasta too much. So anyway, that's why I did this diet. I'm hoping it'll curtail that a little bit. It'll make that a little not so crazy. All right, guys, we got to start. Welcome to Get Your News On with Ron, the world's first viewer-curated streaming news show. I'm Ron Placone. I'm your host. What does this mean? That means you guys tweet me articles at Ron Placone, and that's how we do the show. I'm seeing everything for the first time. We're talking about everything for the first time. Start tweeting me, you guys. Start tweeting me articles at Ron Placone. Send me what you want to talk about. We have some interesting stuff here already, and we're gonna get right into it. And it looks like we got some updates. And we're going to start with kind of a shout out on something pretty positive here. And that is a protest that's going on. The courage to question. So shout out to Courtney in San Antonio. Courtney was actually the first person to book me for a house show. So you guys should all follow Courtney's lead and book me for a house show. I'm going to be posting something about that because I'm starting to work on some 2019 house show dates. But Courtney was the first person to take a gamble on the house show. I did a house show in San Antonio, and we had a frickin' blast. And here's a protest she was a part of, and she wanted me to shout it out on the show, and I like it, so I'm going to shout it out on the show. Anti-war veterans group About Face calls Whit Museum to account over George W. Bush exhibit. So here's something from the op-ed here that was written by Marisol Cortez. As the Bush years fade from memory and we find ourselves in the shadow of the Trump administration's virulent white nationalism, it's easy to feel almost nostalgic for a Republican like George W. Bush. Dumb, rich, and led by the nose of nefarious neocons into murderous foreign policy, to be sure. At least not an explicit Nazi sympathizer or unrepentant pussy grabber. The sympathetic revisiting of the Bush years has only deepened as he's made post-presidential forays into the fine arts, right? He takes selfies with Ellen now. He's just a nice, harmless war criminal. That's what George W. Bush is now. And he has a nice paint-by-numbers career, as they're mentioning here. So, but fortunately, in San Antonio, where there's now a Bush exhibit at the Whit Museum, some people don't suffer from amnesia, and they remember that George W. Bush is, in fact, a war criminal. And we talk about that on this show a lot, how it's easy for people to have amnesia when you do have somebody as outwardly despicable as Donald Trump. However, Donald Trump hasn't started any illegal wars yet. And this idea that everything was hunky-dory and then Trump got here is just a falsity. And if you don't learn from history, you're doomed to repeat it. So how do we stop Bush amnesia? Because I think it's important. And shout out to all the activists in San Antonio that did this to remind people. I mean, if we keep going down this amnesia nostalgic path where if somebody talks polite, that's all it takes. In 20 years, we're going to be saying, or not we, but you know what I mean. In 20 years, the country's going to be saying, man, we yearn for the days of Donald Trump. He was kind of a douche, but not a total douche like our new president, Nazi McFuckface. That guy's a true asshole. That guy's an open Nazi, as opposed to one that was just a sympathizer. That's what we get if we keep going down this path. That's what we get. In 20 years, we'll be yearning for the days of the polite talking Donald Trump, and that's hard to imagine, isn't it? What are you guys saying? Extinction Ritual. Pay no attention to the thousands of dead people. Garden Gnome. I agree the softening of Bush's image is disgusting. George W. Bush is the most embarrassing artist since John McNaughton. I'm not sure who that is, but he is an embarrassing artist, so I'll go with you there. Who has seen the Sacha Cohen interview with Shaney on his new show? It was so funny and disturbing. Chris, I've not seen it, but if you have something, send it over. Let's see here. Too right. Also, Bush destroyed the Fourth Amendment. Yeah, that's something we love to forget about. A lot of the issues we're facing now is still from the groundwork laid by George W. Bush. The Patriot Act, the Clean Air and Water Act, or whatever that act was that Dick Cheney was behind that wasn't about clean air at all. The Iraq War, the, quote, war on terror, which gave us preemptive authority. Yeah, we are still healing, and we're not even healing because we're not learning from it, but we are still feeling the effects of the Bush administration. And Obama continued a lot of that. That's, you know, I mean, he made the tax cuts permanent. He expanded the wars in time. You know, I mean, we're still suffering. I mean, George W. Bush was the most destructive president of my lifetime, by far. And we're still feeling it. And we're still feeling a little bit from Clinton and Bush the first, and Obama too, even. But GW really set this country on fire. And Cupstairs points out, people think it's all cute that he passed Michelle Obama some candy. That's right, he passed Michelle Obama some butterscotch candy. And you know what I say? If George W. Bush offered me some butterscotch candy, I would accept it, but then I'd offer him a pretzel. Throwback! That's a throwback. Joe, end the clip there. All right. So shout out to Courtney and all the anti-war activists. I know it's really hard when we live in the United States of amnesia, as Gore Vidal put it, but it's nice to know that some people are not forgetting. So go San Antonio. And also, this is as good a time as any to formally announce, I have not even posted this on my website, but November 10th, Austin, Texas, I'm coming. I got a show in Austin, Texas. I'm going to be playing the ZT Gallery. Some of you guys know ZT is a sponsor of this show. Their tea, it kind of rules. Well, November 10th and 11th, there's an event called East in Austin, EAST. It's a big art walk on the east side of town. The ZT Gallery is part of that. So in honor of their grand opening and in honor of the event in Austin, we're going to be doing a show. Tickets are available now. I'll be posting that later on my website as soon as this stream is over, and I'll tweet about it. And there's a limited amount of tickets available. It's a special event. It's an event to celebrate the opening of the tea shop, and it's not a super big space because it's a tea shop, not a comedy club. It's a tea shop, but they got a nice stage, a nice setup, and we're gonna have a really fun, intimate show there. And hopefully, if all goes as planned, my album will be out by then. It's tough to say because we don't have a total go date yet. We're still working on getting everything finalized with the edits and with the cover art and all that fun stuff. But if all goes as planned, my album will be out in November. Hopefully, it'll be out by then. So we'll be spinning the album earlier in the day during the art walk on some vinyl. So yeah, now you know, November 10th, Austin, Texas. Mark your calendars now. And let's see what you guys want to talk about, shall we? All right. Here's an update on some of the bills facing Jerry Brown. And I wonder if it includes something about net neutrality. It might very well. I just gave it a Get Your News On with Ron retweet. This is from Joe. Advice for Governor Jerry Brown as he decides which bills to sign. Governor Jerry Brown has nearly 1,000 bills stacked on his desk to sign or chuck. Some are important, most are not, many are frivolous. They flew out of the legislature like clouds of locusts in the final days before lawmakers adjourned their two-year session on Friday. Brown has until September 30th to act on them. Last year he signed 88% of the legislature's offerings, no doubt occasionally cringing. The biggest bills now before the governor I've already written about. That's the author saying they've already written about it. Wildfire liability, fire prevention, net neutrality, and 100% clean energy by 2045. I wish that year was a little bit lower. But call me a Heartland hippie, right? Because I am a Heartland hippie. I'm going to go get my crop share is a sentence I uttered regularly when I lived in Tennessee. Anyway, here are some other intriguing measures with unsolicited advice for the governor. Liquor last calls. Legislation by Scott Wiener would allow bars to stay open until 4 a.m. in 9 cities. Los Angeles, West Hollywood, Long Beach. Living drama-free in the LBC with a 4 a.m. last call. San Francisco, Oakland, Sacramento, Palm Springs, Cathedral City, and Coachella. City councils would have to approve it. You know, I'm kind of indifferent to that sort of thing. I mean, if it helps out local businesses, great. If it doesn't, then whatever. Everybody makes it out like it's this big deal when there's a late last call, and I get it. Some people dig it, and it's cool if that's your thing too. But my thing is, if you really want to go late, there's always after hours places you can go to, and usually, I don't know, 2 a.m. call just suits me just fine. And then I'm cool with just going back to somebody's house and smoking a bowl. But, I guess I'm more of a loungy guy, especially as I get older. All right, school start times, women on corporate boards, abortion pills, gun buyer's age. You'd have to be at least 21 to buy a rifle or shotgun, unless you have a hunting license or were in law enforcement or military. They should apply that to alcohol. How about they apply that to alcohol? How about, if you served your country, if you were in the military, you're allowed to order a drink if you're over 18. Amazing. My point is, it's amazing. I mean, I think the drinking age should be 18 anyway, but it's incredible that you can go and get killed in a war and you can't order a beer. And it's incredible, too, that they have more lax regulations for buying firearms than they do for buying a beer. Let that sink in. No Los Angeles Times. I don't want your dumb coupons. Don't want them. Don't want them, LA Times. So anyway, hopefully Jerry Brown signs a lot of these measures. And, they're all important. But the big one, of course, to me, in regards to my task force, is, of course, the net neutrality bill. I'm really hoping he signs off on that. I feel like he likely will. But we'll see. And speaking of some more shenanigans in California, this is some from Seawalk. And guys, keep tweeting stuff. Keep on tweeting stuff. I'm going to go over to the Reddit after this one. California DMV mishandled thousands of voter registrations. The California Department of Motor Vehicles on Wednesday said it discovered it sent the Secretary of State's office 23,000 erroneous voter registrations. The agency said the errors occurred within the state's motor voter. Wow, that's just not meant to be said. Come on, motor voter? Really? That's freaking annoying. Motor voter. Say that 5 times fast. Motor voter program, which allows eligible applicants getting a driver's license to be automatically registered to vote. The DMV said the errors stem from technicians toggling between multiple screens and registration information being improperly merged. According to the agency, 1,600 residents did not complete a voter registration affidavit and had their information sent to the Secretary of State, which maintains the state's list of registered voters. The DMV said none of the applicants were undocumented immigrants. We are committed to getting this right. In some cases, people were registered in the wrong party. Interesting. It's really interesting that when it comes time to vote, a bunch of people are left off the rolls in California. The Fonz was left off the rolls. I don't know if you guys saw that when it was in the news, but on our primary, Henry Winkler went to vote, and he was purged from the rolls. And what happens to you when you're purged from the rolls is you get a provisional ballot that, let's be honest, is likely not counted. In some cases, we know for sure it was not counted. I tried to switch my registration. I was registered Democrat when I was a kid. When I turned 18, I actually did want to register as an independent, not because I was necessarily cognizant of the Democrats being corrupt as they are. I mean, I always knew that the Democrats were better than the Republicans, right? When I was a kid and still kind of learning things politically. But I wanted to register as an independent, but I was in Pennsylvania, so it was explained to me by my dad. He's like, look, if you register as an independent, you're not going to be able to vote in a lot of primaries. There's a lot of things you're just not going to be able to vote on. So you kind of have to pick one of the two parties. And I was like, okay, well, obviously Democrat is the clearer glass. I'll register as a Democrat, so that's what I did. And in California, you don't necessarily have to do that. You can still vote in the primaries, no matter how you're registered. So I went to switch. I was like, well, I can switch, and it didn't switch me. I switched it over, and then when I got my thing in the mail, I was still listed as a Democrat. So they wouldn't let me do it. And then I didn't mess with it further because I know a lot of people were getting purged from the voting rolls, and even though I don't have any concrete proof that it has something to do with people Dem exiting or Republican exiting, it wouldn't surprise me, so I was like, whatever. So anyway, my point is, it's really interesting to me that when it comes to voter registration... Oh, and I got another thing in the mail. So not too terribly long ago, as some of you guys know, me and my girlfriend moved in together, and we found a new place. I left my house, she left her apartment, and we found a new place together, which is where I'm at now. And so I had to fill out a change of address. I didn't even bother doing it before the primary because I was like, I don't want to give them any reason to mess with me. I don't want to give them any reason to say, oh, something got mixed up, you can't vote. I'm like, I'm not messing with it. So, but then after the primary, I was like, after I cast my vote and I knew it was good, I decided, okay, now I can handle this because it'll be good come November. And I got this thing in the mail, and it just said, if you don't send this in within a couple weeks, there's a good chance you won't be able to vote. I mean, it was put in more flowery language than that. But it basically said, like, if you don't confirm this is your address, you might not be able to vote. And it's very interesting to me that somebody like myself, who is an active voter, I've voted in everything since I've lived in California. Since I've become a resident, I've voted every opportunity I've had to. I have voted in every local election. Even when I lived in different neighborhoods, like when I lived in Silver Lake, I voted on the issues there. Since living in Pasadena, I've voted on the issues here. And I've always filled out a change of address when I've moved. I've lived in 3 different places. This is my 3rd different place that I've lived in. And I've always voted. And it's so interesting where somebody who is active on the rolls, they try to potentially stifle your opportunity to vote. It's interesting to me how it goes. So it's really fascinating when you see stuff like this, that they're actually registering people that didn't even want to be registered. Which, by the way, I'd rather have that problem than people that show up to vote and then aren't able to. So that's interesting. Thank you for sharing that. And I think voter registration should be automatic anyway. So I don't have a problem with more people being registered. I do have a problem with the fact that they're so sloppy in the process. This is from Just Want World Peace. This is over on the Reddit. And they're saying it's not that Rahm Emanuel doesn't want to run for mayor of Chicago. It won't be legal. Okay, let's look into this. As you guys may have already heard, Rahm Emanuel is not seeking another term as mayor of Chicago. Progressives are really happy about this. Rahm Emanuel is very much a neoliberal shill. And, you know, I passed through Chicago a fair amount. I was just there in July. And that dude is not popular. Especially amidst... Now, granted, I was with a lot of my college buddies who are pretty progressive people. They're not fans. So I guess I can't speak to his overall popularity, but, you know, it seems like he's not super loved. But let's see what this is saying. I've not heard he wasn't able to. Okay. Quinn gets very good news in mayoral term limits fight, but the bout is far from over. Okay. Shut up, Chicago Sun-Times. I don't want your coupons. Then Governor Pat Quinn and Mayor Rahm Emanuel attend an Obama speech in 2014. Okay. Quinn wants to pass a referendum that would keep the mayor from a third term. A preliminary analysis indicates former Governor Pat Quinn and other supporters of a binding referendum to set term limits on Chicago mayors gathered more than enough valid signatures to place the question on the November ballot. The Chicago board... All right, so this is... So it's not that he can't, Rahm Emanuel. It's that potentially he won't be able to. Because they got the signatures necessary to put something on the ballot to have term limits. The Chicago Board of Election Commissioners reported Thursday that its line-by-line examination contained at least 54,995 valid signatures, exceeding the minimum required. Quinn's group submitted a total of 87,000. Okay. It's very good news for us. Even if the signatures are upheld as sufficient, however, the referendum still faces serious legal hurdles, including whether the city council has already crowded the term limit question off the ballot by approving 3 advisory referenda for November. So will there be room for it on the ballot? I don't know why you just wouldn't... I don't know why you just wouldn't make a bigger ballot. And also, guys, man, they know where we go. They know where we go. Because check out this advertisement I happened to get on the top of my browser. And, you know, not gonna lie, I have been ring shopping. I'm in a very happy relationship. Well, anyway, I mean, I you know, if this passes and it's a good thing to get new and fresh blood in the mayor's seat, I'm okay with that. And as far as Rahm Emanuel, I'm glad he's gone, or he's going to be gone. I think Chicago needs some fresh blood. I hope they get a good progressive in there to replace him. I hope they don't get some terrible Republican or something like that. I hope they don't replace their terrible Republican with a terrible Republican. Huh? Huh? See that? All right. Interesting. Thank you for sharing. And guys, we still have more room, so keep tweeting. All right, we're going to try to play an interview. Give me a second here while I retweet it. And then I'm going to have to turn it up. All right, so here we go. I'll go ahead and... Oh, I can't full screen it. Interesting. Alright, well, let's go to it. So we'll watch it on here. Hopefully you guys can hear it okay.
It's a great honor to be next to a real mensch, Dick Henning. Shalom.
Thank you. It's good to be with you today. I look forward to the program.
You started so many wars, Afghanistan, Iraq 1 and Iraq 2. Which was your favorite war and why?
Oh, I think it was what we did at Desert Storm. I really do. I never thought of it as having a favorite war.
Of course, but you got to enjoy it too. And
yeah, sure. I love being Secretary of Defense, especially in wartime, especially during Desert Storm.
It's fun.
We had the capacity, you know, to. I deployed 500,000 men.
Is this a real interview?
Fantastic.
And
fantastic.
we had stealth technology. We had precision-guided munitions. We had all of this. this capability that we developed.
Is this satirical?
Some of it was used for the first time.
What do you think Iraq would have been like if you didn't liberate it? Would it have been a breeding ground for terrorists and unstable?
I think it would have been, yes. We felt that it was an important strategic interest.
All right. Yeah, I don't know if that interview is even real. That might have been sent for satirical sake. It seems so ridiculous. I can't believe that's even a real interview. Maybe it is. But thanks for sharing. I really I don't know anything about that outlet or anything about the context, so I don't even know. I'm hoping that's a fake interview. I'm hoping that's satirical. Talking about how fun war is. So let's move on. This is from DC 420. Senate bill would legalize medical marijuana for military veterans. 2 Democratic U.S. senators filed legislation on Wednesday that would effectively legalize medical marijuana for military veterans and let government doctors help them access it. Oh, that's not annoying at all. That's not annoying at all. Two Democratic U.S. senators filed legislation on Wednesday that would effectively legalize medical marijuana for military veterans and let government doctors help them access it. Under the Veterans Medical Marijuana Safe Harbor Act, Department of Veteran Affairs physicians would be empowered to issue medical cannabis recommendations in accordance with the laws of a growing number of states. The legislation, sponsored by Senators Bill Nelson and Brian Schatz, also makes it legal under federal law for military veterans to use, possess, or transport medical marijuana in accordance with the laws of the state. And it requires VA to conduct studies on the effects of medical marijuana on veterans in pain. Okay, so obviously this is a cool bill that likely has no chance anytime soon. This is not something Jeff Sessions would allow to happen. This is not something that would pass a Republican majority. So these are just people kind of scoring political points right now. So there's that. So there's that. Let's see what you guys are saying in the chat. Cannabis is good medicine. Agreed. Mike S. says, what's the relevance of the anonymous op-ed in the New York Times everyone's talking about? Oh, man, let's talk about that next. Balthazar, thank you for the Super Chat contribution. Rahm Emanuel and Hillary Klingon are still trying to find their humanity. They haven't found intelligent life in their donor base yet. Balthazar also says the Dem reforms allowed for same-day voter registration as a Democrat, which is a far cry from open primaries with MPP registration. That's very true. All right, so let's go over to that. The anonymous op-ed piece. You know what I said about it? I said Andy Kaufman gave us a fuck of a closer. That's what I said. So here's the piece itself. And it's from the New York Times. I am part of the resistance inside the Trump administration. So this is the anonymous piece. Some of you guys probably read it already. I read it last night. But here it is. President Trump is facing a test to his presidency unlike any faced by a modern American leader. It's not just that the special counsel looms large or that the country is bitterly divided over Mr. Trump's leadership, or even that his party might well lose the House to an opposition hell-bent on his downfall. The dilemma is that many of the senior officials in his own administration are working diligently from within to frustrate parts of his agenda. All right, so, and this person, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but this person is a Republican, or at least you're led to believe they're definitely a Republican. And what's interesting to me is they say that they're trying to undermine Trump's agenda. They have a problem with Trump, but they don't mention anything specific. Now, the reason they don't mention anything specific is because there's not one policy that Trump's looking into that any other Republican wouldn't do. The difference between Trump and any other Republican is subtlety, and the fact that Trump is less kind with his words. That's the difference. So all of these policies, which are brutal, ugly policies, Trump doesn't sugarcoat them. So people hear what they actually are. So this idea that other Republicans are more level-headed or they'd be more moderate, it's A, a lie, and B, not a healthy way to look at things, because that entertains this notion that everything was hunky-dory until Trump got here, which just is not true. Trump's the result of a broken system, not the cause of it. So here's what this Republican claims is the problem, and you're not going to see any policy here. The root of the problem is the president's amorality. Anyone that works with him knows he is not more to any discernible first principles that guide in his decision-making. This is a person who's part of a party that starts illegal wars. Although he was elected as a Republican, the president shows little affinity for ideals long espoused by conservatives. These are just words: free minds, free markets, and free people. This is just doublespeak. This person can't point to any policy. Here's another part. This is another problem they have with Trump. He speaks mean. That's what this is code for. He speaks mean. Meetings with him veer off topic and off the rails. He engages in repetitive rants, and his impulsiveness results in half-baked, ill-informed, and occasionally reckless decisions that have to be walked back. He talks mean. He talks mean, and he doesn't answer to anybody. That's basically what they're saying. This op-ed is just verbal diarrhea. Is Trump despicable? Yes, he is. He's not despicable just because he lacks subtlety. He's not despicable because of his... Well, he is despicable because of his views, but that's not the only reason why he's despicable. He's despicable because he's part of the Republican machine, too. And yes, he is. He is no different than any other Republican would be doing the same shit. The difference is they wouldn't be Nazi sympathizers. At least they probably wouldn't be, presumably. I don't think John Kasich would be. And they would sugarcoat a lot of this shit. But they'd be doing the same shit. Now, as far as where this op-ed came from, everybody's trying to ponder where it came from. My guess is Andy Kaufman. I think that Andy, fuck of a closer, he's still out there, and this is Andy Kaufman's closer. He wrote this anonymous op-ed. He's somewhere in the Trump administration, floating around. He disguises himself as a maintenance dude, or in fact, that maintenance dude that Obama gave a fist bump to. I think that was Andy Kaufman. Andy Kaufman's been in disguise ever since then, and now he wrote this anonymous op-ed. Second guess, Jim Morrison. I think it might be Jim Morrison. Just because. I think that there's a good chance Jimmy Moe's still out there. I think it's possible. Third, Kurt Vonnegut. I think, no, Kurt Vonnegut's dead, unfortunately. I don't think it was Kurt Vonnegut. I know my other two guesses, very probable, so I don't want to be off the rails with a bogus third guess. Cheech and Chong. I think Cheech and Chong might have wrote this anonymous op-ed. Some people are saying it could have been an elaborate prank by John McCain. Possible, but I don't think that guy had a sense of humor. Let's see. Who else? Well, let me see what you guys are saying. Maybe you guys have some guesses. I know my guesses are pretty good. And chances are, I mean, I got a 50-50, you know. I'm probably going to get it right. I am part of the resistance, but not the sexy resistance. I love how they say that. All right, some of you guys are with me. You think it's definitely Jim Morrison. I think that's pretty good. Now, Barbara's saying it wasn't Andy Kaufman. It was the ghost of Andy Kaufman. Barbara, nah, you're getting a little conspiratorial here, Barbara. Coup d'etat by Mike Pence or one of his minions. Sherelle is saying that. You know what? I think there's a chance it was Mike Pence, but only if Mike Pence wrote it with a woman who is not his wife. I think there is a chance that Mike Pence really let his hair down, and he's like, I'm going to frickin' write this with a woman who's not my wife. And, man, all right. We got some other good guesses here. Google Tupac. Another good guess. Now, what I'm thinking is, I don't know if it was Tupac, but Tupac's hologram. I think it definitely could have been Tupac's hologram. Gina Haspel made Al-Qaeda write it as part of the torture program in Gitmo. Another good guess. Pam Ryan's hoping for Mike Pence. Pulling for Mike Pence. I don't know. 17th Earl of Oxford. Another very good guess. Abby Hoffman from the grave. Cupstairs says a cute guy. Little broad, but it could have been a cute guy. I'm going with cute guy. Maybe Melania. Interesting. Putin. Some of you think that Vladimir Putin wrote this. I can assure you Vladimir Putin did not. Don't ask me how I know this, but I know that it was not Vladimir. Mike Pence is creepy like that, Barbara says. Mike Pence is, in fact, creepy. I don't know. Nikki Haley. HIPAA. Guesses Nikki Haley. Cappuccino Conservative. Guesses Sarah Sanders wrote it. No. 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 It wasn't. I don't think so. You think so? Woody Allen. Another solid guess. Another solid guess. Daniel takes it a step further. Not only does Daniel think it's John McCain, but he thinks that John McCain is still alive. Lodestar, Steven, with a solid guess. Lavrov. Sarandon. Pam nailed it. Wait, Pam, you figured it out. It's Susan Sarandon wrote this. Susan Sarandon wrote this just to throw people off. Barack Obama, magnetic perturbation, guesses Barack Obama. Well, I did say it sounded like a Republican, which makes Barack Obama a prime suspect. 100% comatose. Trump wrote it himself. Now, wouldn't that be a fun prank? What if Trump wrote it himself? And by the way, as we speak, there's people that are... There's going to be people that are taking this seriously and are going to use this to smear the show. And I can't wait until that happens. They're going to be like, look at what they think Jim Morrison wrote this. They think it was, this is ridiculous. This is why we have Trump. They accused the singer of the Doors of writing anonymous op-eds. And that's why we have Trump. It's because Rob Lacone streams this shit. He's very powerful. Have fun, members of the Mick Resistance. Do your worst. Look at them. Hang on. You guys had some other good guesses and I missed it. Balthazar says it was Peter Dow. What if Trump wrote it himself, though? Let's get back to that. Trump wrote it himself just to prove how shitty the media is. What if he did that? What if he's like, you guys bought this shit. I wrote it. I wrote it. Chelsea Clinton. Somebody guessed Chelsea Clinton. Like I said, sounds like a Republican, so Chelsea, fair guess. Fair guess. I don't know who wrote it, but I think Elvis is part of the Trump administration, Matthew says. Dwayne thinks that it was written in crayon. We can't disprove that. Jilly, it was Hillary. Jared Kushner, Daniel guesses. You guys have some good guesses. I am still going to go with, it was either... you know what? My close third is Tupac's hologram. Those are my top three, all right? I'm thinking it was either Andy Kaufman. That was my first guess. I'm pretty solid with that. It was either Andy Kaufman, potentially Jim Morrison, potentially Jimmy Moe. He's paying attention. He's floating around there somewhere, and he ended up in the Trump White House. I think they have enough turnover. It's very possible. Third guess, Tupac's hologram. It would have been Tupac, but Tupac's hologram, because Tupac was a very, very progressive guy, light years ahead of his time, could have given us a lot more. It's tragic he died as young as he did. His hologram, on the other hand, kind of a right-winger. So Tupac's hologram, I think, may be working with the Trump administration, may have written this letter. So, do you guys think we're going to find out? And that question I am asking sincerely. Do you guys think we're going to find out? I don't think we are. I think we're going to forget about this just as quick as it came. I wouldn't be surprised if New York Times wasn't even totally sure that it came from where they claim it came from. Because I don't think they care. I mean, they got a lot of eyeballs on this anonymous op-ed. That's all they want. That's all they care about. So, I don't think, and this is a sincere answer, I don't think we're going to find out who wrote it. I could be wrong. I might be wrong right now, to be honest. I mean, this is streaming in real time. I've not looked into a ton of news yet today. They might have already revealed who wrote it. I don't know. If they did, please let me know. But, assuming they didn't, I don't think we're going to find out. What do you guys think? Well, let's see if maybe they did find out. That'd be curious. Let's see. New York Times, anonymous, op-ed piece. So I'm on an article right now that says it's the story behind it. But we still don't know who, yeah. So, of course, they published an article saying the story behind it. CNN published that, which, of course, leads you to think, oh, I guess they know who was behind it. No, they don't. It was just a misleading headline. As usual, that's what CNN does. That's what all the corporate media does, not just CNN. All right. Well, guys, I think we solved it. We have some damn good guesses. And, yeah, I think we solved it. I think we solved it. And we might be at the end, y'all. Let me see if we covered everything. Oh, here's one more. But this is a video, and I don't really want to do a video. Yeah, guys, when you post stuff in the Reddit, try to stay away from videos if you can. They're harder for me to share, and it's tough for me to know how good the audio is on your guys' end. So I'd rather just have articles. It makes it easier. Let's go to the chat, and then that'll be it for today. Let me see what you guys... Stephen Carl says it was Eazy-E. Now, do you guys think we're going to find out who it is? We have a couple more guesses for Putin. Donna Brazil is a good guess, but it's a cabinet member. This op-ed is just more pap for the masses. Another watch the monkey game. I agree, Garden Gnome. And I do need to read Welcome to the Monkey House. I really do. Brent has a very involved theory. Peter Dow passed to Brock, passed to HRC, passed to Chelsea, passed it to Ivanka, who accidentally flushed it, and then had to ask Peter for a new copy. That is involved. Stephen Call, Ron, did you ever watch Sorry to Bother You? I've not seen it yet, but I really want to. I really want to see it. I really want to see it. So we don't know who it is, but apparently it's a cabinet member. Joseph, imagine, plot twist, it was Ron the entire time. He's asking this question to avoid suspicion. That's, you know what? What I'm going to do, actually, here's my plan. I'm going to hire 13 Twitter trolls from St. Petersburg. What they're going to do is they're going to tweet, and what they're going to tweet is that I know who wrote it, and I won't tell anyone unless I get a Netflix special. And they're going to have memes of Rainbow Bernie and Jesus arm wrestling Satan. Very, very persuasive shit. So, I'll see you guys on Netflix, is what I'm saying. I'll see you guys on Netflix. Guys, a little bit of housekeeping before we sign out here. First of all, if I seem a little out of it, it's because of this diet. For anyone that wasn't here at the beginning, I'm on a Whole30 diet. This is day number 3. I'm feeling okay, but my energy's a little low. There's usually an adjustment period. Last time I did this diet, it was 5 days, and then on day 6, I felt phenomenal. But for the first 5 days, I felt rough. I was struggling, man, and so I'm struggling a little bit now. I've not been able to exercise much the past 2 days. I just haven't had the energy for it. But I'm really trying to get my energy up. Derek, Ron probably can't poop, but he won't say it. Derek, actually, on this diet, that is not a problem at all. Actually, a common side effect is diarrhea on the Whole30 diet. Now, at the risk of going TMI, I have not had that problem. But every day is an opportunity. Could be coming. So I've not had diarrhea, but as far as being regular, that has not been a problem for me. And that's usually on this diet, the opposite is the problem. But you know what? It helped me the first time. The diet, my guess, is the Whole30 diet. It's the Whole30 diet where for 30 days you just do whole foods. Not Whole Foods, the place. Whole foods. Like vegetables, fruits, fish, proteins, meats, and you can't have any processed food. You can't have any grains, so no bread, no rice, no pastas, no sugar, no soy, no legumes. I can't have peanuts. I can only have almond butter made with just almonds. E-Debs, I know some folks on a 1 meal a day diet. I wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't recommend that either. On this diet, I can eat as much as I want. That is one of the things. It's like, it's not totally no carbs because I can have potatoes. Joseph points out 30 days of products from Whole Foods would probably be the most expensive diet ever. Yes, it most certainly would be. Guys, a little bit of housekeeping. Some upcoming tour dates. November 2nd, Sacramento, California. November 3rd, San Francisco, California. November 10th, just announced, Austin, Texas. Go to my website later today. Tickets will be available. I'll also be tweeting about tickets for that. If you're in Austin, Texas, please grab tickets quick because there's a very limited supply of them. And I hope to see you all in Austin, Texas on November 10th. That is going to be at the ZT Gallery. That is the tea store that sponsors this show. Their tea kind of rules. Go to ZT.com, and I'm really excited to be working with them. All right, guys. Oh, also, November 17th, Santa Barbara, California. And November 23rd, I will be in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And we're working on tour dates for 2019 as we speak. Why am I dieting, Pat Hacker asks. You know what, man? I just I feel like I've been getting a little puffy. And I decided I needed to make some dietary adjustments. And the only thing that sucks is the past 2 days, my body has not been up for working out. So once my body gets used to this diet, I look forward to working out again. But anyway. Thank you guys for being part of this. Come Monday, I'll be past that 6-day hump, so I should totally be back to normal on Monday, so I'm excited about that. But, and by the way, I have a show Saturday night at Henson Brewing in Burbank, California for any local LA folks. It's a free show. There's a Americana band kicking off the night, and then there's comedy after. It's a really fun time. Come on out to that. All right. I love you all very much. This has been Get Your News On with Ron. The podcast drops tomorrow, so if you missed anything from the stream this week, you can get the highlights on the Friday podcast. You can subscribe to the Get Your News On with Ron podcast on iTunes. And if you want to support this show on the sustainability end, patreon.com/Ron Placone for a give what you can level. You get all kinds of exclusive content, including free show tickets when I come to your town, wink, wink, and my album's going to be delivered to your inbox. So, yeah. You know the drill. Brent, thank you for the Super Chat contribution. She won't say yes unless six-pack abs, ? You caught me. I got to get a six-pack or my girlfriend won't marry me. You guys are awesome. Thank you very much for being part of this. I'll be back on Monday. We missed Music Monday last week because of the Labor Day holiday. I was out of town, and I know you guys probably had other stuff to do too. So we're going to have a Music Monday on Monday, which I'm stoked about. You guys know I love my Music Monday. So we're going to have a fun Music Monday on Monday, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. See you then. This has been Get Your News On with Ron, the world's first viewer-curated streaming news show. Have a lovely weekend. I love you all very much. LA, hope to see you Saturday. If you're in those other towns, ronplacone.com. Grab your tickets. Peace.